Okay. All right, my fellow DAVARians, we got to the last letter, but not the least. This is the letter for focusing, for aiming, for concentrating, for pointing at the first two letters that we start and to remain there. So we used to, to do a boomerang, not to lose sight, keep the cycle going. Shalom, Andy. Okay, so that's the whole idea. So here we're at the target, it's represented by a cross or an X, because where you're aiming, when you have a rifle and you aim, you have that scope to aim. You aim right in the middle of the cross. You're right in the middle of the dot where the cross meets, and that's where you aim at the target. So the whole idea is we come to the last letter, but it's not the least one because it's aiming, telling you to aim, to focus, and be committed at the goal. And what the goal? To be in the mindset of the Alef-Beyt, to acquire that mindset and not to deviate from it, okay? So we're going to start by doing a little review of the new song that I taught you yesterday, because I think, I still want to keep it in my mind. And it's a good one to keep in our hearts here also, to remember, that we want to be righteous, we want to be Sadiqs, and we want to stay in track. And he helps us, because according to the Torah, you follow these things and he helps you in the long run. So let me take you to, so let me see, I have it here with the song for today. Okay, let me take the play number 2. We'll talk about a little review before we sing it. Like I was explaining yesterday, get behind my mask. My mask is the Torah that defends me from all the germs of the spirit of wantonness mentality that is out there, right? So this is my protection. So the life of a Sadiq, the life of a righteous person, right? We want to be that. So Shuva is repentance, by the way. I forgot to mention that too much yesterday. But Shuva is repentance, to turn, to come back. And according to the letters, it tells you there the Shen, okay, and the Vav is for the U, and the Beth is in there. So those 3 letters. So it means to comply with or adhere to the connectedness of the blueprints. Okay, so that's what Shuva means. To repent is just to go back to the main goal, watching what the main aim is of the scriptures, what it's telling you to adhere to become what? To reveal the mindset of the Alef-Beyt, so that we will never get out of this, right? Because we were made, you and I, we were not made for a place, people. Other religions tell you we were made to go to heaven, but I beg to differ. The Bible tells us that we can enjoy the mindset of the Creator in the here and now. So any religion or any creed or any system of belief that taught you that once you leave the body, that's when the real good things are going to happen, and they deprive you from the mindset of the Father, they have done great harm to the DAVAR inside of you. The DAVAR, the word inside of you, have been disfigured to such a degree that the last thing is expressing is the mindset of the Father. So that's what happens when that is ignored. So the Torah brings you to the main focus. We were made for the mindset, for the way that the Creator thinks, for the way that He feels, for the way that He chooses, so that He will be dwelling in us. Because at the end, guess what? It says that man has become the habitation of God. That's the whole idea. The aim at the end for God to be dwelling in us perpetually and constantly, And it's not like He's present. He's ever present everywhere, because He's the one running everything. We have only desires that things work a certain way and our body functions out of desire. But He is the one making it function. But we're so blind, to all that He does, that we don't see Him. So that's how He hides Himself. Our ignorance, we perish. We got cut off from our Maker because we have no knowledge of the Torah. We have no knowledge of the Alef-Beyt to connect us, because the word TAV that we're looking at today That's the the T, for the top, but the T is spelled T and the Vav, and it just means aim at the connections, aim at the connectedness. So aim at everything. So make sure that everything connects to the mindset of the Maker. Therefore, you understand that the Torah and all the rules that are given, is there so that you will facilitate, the way that you can see God operates among His creation, how He connects everything, and how He feels Himself responsible for every family and everything that is there, all the environment and everything is connected to Him. And so everything that we do is for us to finally to facilitate that mindset of Him, so we will understand Him in that way. So that there's a reason, and even it says that that will be reinstituted, once the Messiah returns. Thus all sacrifices are going to be instituted. And by the way, that's another thing that you guys are going to need to learn, which I misunderstood with Christianity. Most of what is called sacrifice in the Bible are not for sin, by the way. A lot of them are for thanksgiving, and they call offerings, a korban, as an offering. We keep thinking of sacrifices that it's blood for only atonement, but a lot of the sacrifices are for just thanksgiving. And those are the big ones, with the bullocks and the ox. Those were expensive ones because the people were so thankful to God, so they brought a sacrifice of thanksgiving. There was a sacrifice for unintentional sins. So the ones where you for unintentional sins, things that you did without wanting to see because of ignorance or like that. So those were the sacrifice. Sacrifice were not for sins of all the time, and that some of the sacrifices were not blood sacrifices. If you were poor, you could bring a flower or a plant. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you need to learn that the Torah will explain to you, and I will, God permitting, I will spend some time. But the whole thing is that the Torah is sufficient to bring you to the mindset of your Maker. If it's taught the right way, if it's taught for the purpose of keeping you there, for leading you to the mindset of your Maker and not having you depart from there. All right, so that's what we're learning here. So the things that the Tzaddik implements is he has what he called institutionalized Shuvah. He's always going back to the adherence and connectedness of the blueprints. And Shema is always listening. He's grabbing onto the solutions observed. That's what it means to listen and to hear. He always also operating for Shabbat. Always doing something that will bring rest to his fellow men and will bring rest to the mindset of the Father. The mindset of the Father is to aim at having his way of thinking and his way of feeling being poured into us. So when we adhere to the Torah, he knows that is going to be implemented. That's going to happen. So his heart is at rest. But those that abandon the Torah and do not follow it the way he meant it for you to follow it, those bring distress to his heart. Because you are neglecting the very means by which God was going to communicate and transfer himself to our mindset. From his mindset to our soul. And those that do not follow the Torah, then therefore they grieve his heart. Because you neglect the only means that he gave for him to transport himself to us. And so that's the whole idea there, so Shabbat is that you hold tight to the schematic's objective. That's the whole idea. Therefore you bring rest to your Maker and you bring rest to your fellow man. So it's a perpetual rest. And it's very simple because it's just a communication of the mindset. It's not the rest of the gadgets from this world and stuff like that. That's very tiresome. Because you got to work at a retarded garden that cannot reproduce and replicate. But finally, you become a sunlight. You become the sun of that enterprise. You become the touch bearer, the light bearer, the torch carrier. Because you know everything. Clasping to the solutions, just keep pressing still there. That's the whole idea, So you find something and you stay at it and don't deviate. So let's just keep on keeping on. The whole idea, And so let me see if I can put the song so I can sing it one more time. And then we're going to get into the reading. Okay, the reading for today. And then I'm going to start explaining something, about why important. I'm going to compare the Torah, the first 6 books of the Torah, the first 5 books and the book of Joshua with the first 6 books of the New Testament. And there's a message hidden behind each word, each book, and I'll explain it to you. Okay? And I'll explain to you also in the New Testament how that, and you can see how that that mindset from the Christianity, the way he's been taught, has permeated all of other religion of Christianity, and how the Torah has also kept the Jewish the way that they are right now still. Okay, even though they have failed to appreciate how magnificent is the Torah. I fear that a lot of them, but it's going to happen. What it says in Zechariah 8:23. In that day, everybody's going to go and grab onto a Jew and says, take us in, because, we have heard that, that Adonai is with you. So that's gonna happen. But a lot of them have lost even faith in how valuable and how powerful the Torah is. I happened to just stumble upon the fact that I wanted to have so much completeness in my life that finally I was able to get it with the Torah. To the point that that's where my heart is established, right? And that's what I aim to teach all the days of my life. And now my goal for the next 10 years now, my life, is to have all of it memorized back and forth in the original Hebrew. And we'll see. And I think God is going to allow me to make it happen, because everything that lines up with his heart, he usually, lets you enjoy that. So we'll see. But it's all in his hands. So let me put the song. Let me see here. All right, let's see. Okay, so we are in 2, right? Okay. So then we're going to go to, let me see, Shemesh. Oh, here we go. Shevat Shama Shemesh. All right, let's see. All right. Shabbat Shemesh is what my soul gets to see. Okay, so that's the whole idea there, that we get to see in the working of the DNA inside of our cells how that happens. Each cell that's dividing is listening to the next cell. It's providing the rest in the sense that it's adhering to all that the DNA code is about the body that is taking care of. And then it keeps on adhering as it goes from cell to cell. So there's that, there's a hearing, there's a rest, and there's a shemesh. There's a sunlight and light that keeps guiding the whole thing, okay? And so we get to see that in our own cells in an organic garden, the division of cells for plants and animals. That's the whole thing that takes place. So that's what we get to see. But we need to be that ourselves. We are the cell that takes on the DNA, of the Almighty, the understanding of His mindset. Okay, the because DNA, or the divine nourishment. I can think of something for the A, but we'll think of something for the D to give the knowledge of God to us. So we need to get that, and we become that cell that adheres to that Torah, because that's altogether mindset, and then we pass it on to the next generation that's coming after us. We explain it in the light of His creation. We connect it to everything in creation. Okay, that's the whole idea. So that's what we're doing. So that's what we see, and then we're instructed when we get it to the Torah, to see how everything, all the connectedness of all things, and then we become that, to the DAVAR that's being given to us. So we take care of the DAVAR in the mindset of the Maker. So that's what we see. Then we have to be that, okay? And that's when you go to be trained in a job too. You go in a job, to bring you the manual, right? That you're going to be listening to. And then with that manual, you're going to bring rest to the heart of the owner if you do and adhere to what he's saying, because the owner knows that the job is going to get done, and you're going to bring rest to whoever's going to get the product or service of that company, because that's what they go there to get something that will bring them rest, to make life easier for them. Okay, and finally, when you keep on adhering and complying with the manual and everything, you're going to shine there as a light bearer, a torch carrier, because you know everything about how to run your company. And that's the whole idea. So you stay like that, you are a person that is a good employer. Or you're a tzaddik. A tzaddik is righteous. You do everything the right way. What is fair and what is right. That's the whole idea of being a tzaddik, being a person that does everything according to the instructions, and therefore takes care of the creation of the Creator and the mindset of the Creator that He made that creation. And everything is at peace. You're not in conflict with anybody. That's how you get to keep your job. You do something that the Creator likes, and you take care of His business, and then everything is at peace. You have abundance, everybody has abundance, and the Creator has abundance of happiness, because everything is done according, to His expectations. All right, so now we're gonna go to the lecture for today. Let me see if I can put that in here. Bible reading for today. Okay, let me take you to the Hebrew chart. We're looking at, this is the letter for today, the letter TAV, okay, which is the last one, and numerical value of 400. So this is the last letter, but it's basically, it's the aim, to target, to focus on something, to concentrate, and not to deviate. The whole idea is you put the scope back in the rifle and you aim at the Alef-Beyt again, to begin from the beginning, and it's a cycle here. Everything is a cycle, you do the same job every day. Everything is routine. And everything is like that. So you go from, you wake up in the morning and you finish a job, and then you got to start back again. So the same thing with the Alef-Beyt. Once you know it, then you just keep on reviewing, just like doing everybody's job. This is the job to retain the mindset of the Maker. Okay, so you keep on doing it like this. So I've done these lessons now, 22 of them, and then I posted them here, and I have them also in YouTube. So you're welcome to revisit it, those things, and go over and refresh your mind, with what each letter stands for, and that will help you, to get more acquainted with it. So that was the whole idea of doing this. So it will be there for perpetuity, for as long as YouTube will exist, or or Facebook will allow me to have here, since they're tearing everything down these days. We'll see, but I'm eventually going to put them also in my website. Once I get the CEOs and the CFOs.com running, I will have those things there. But at least we have them here. And today, I'm glad that I'm coming to the last one. we talking about the letter that tells us, just telling you to aim and keep on pressing on the target, not to give up on that. And so that's the main letter here for that. And now let me take you to the scriptures for today. Let me find that. Yeah, for today. Yeah. Okay. And now for the scriptures for today, we're looking at TAV, and it's spelled with the TAV and also the VAV for the nail for connectedness. So it just means the aim of the connections. Aim for the connectedness. Okay, just keep on focusing on the connectedness of things. Don't deviate. Find out how everything is linked and assembled and put together. That's what it's trying to say. In other words, keep on reading the manual. Keep on reading the directions of the diagram, how this thing works, and as long as you do that, everything is going to be okay. Okay, so those are the two beginning letters of the word Torah. We're going to be looking at the Torah here too, because Torah appears here. So, let my cry, verse 169, verse 119, 169. Let my cry come near before thee, O Lord. Give me understanding according to thy DAVAR, to thy word. Psalm 119, verse 170. Let my supplication, and this word supplication is a word that starts with a tab. Okay, that's why all the ones that age 89, so like that, they're in the 83s, 89, 84, it starts like that. Those are with a tab. So those, you don't want to go into the concordances. It's, let my supplication come before thee. Deliver me according to thy word, to thy DAVAR again. So, verse 119, verse 171, my lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. So my lips shall utter praise. Praise is a word like it's like for bragging. It's halach. Halach means to brag, to boast, to speak boldly, because you know what you're talking about. So my lips shall just brag about you. I'll just speak boldly, shall just boast when thou hast taught me thy statutes. Just like when I went to jail and I was just boldly talking about the Torah. And those guys had never heard that stuff before. So they were in awe of the Torah, connecting to so many things in this world. They thought it was irrelevant, but then they had seen that connection. So that's the thing. When God teaches you the Alef-Beyt, then you're going to be able to brag. That's why He said, "My lips shall utter brag, shall utter boastfulness." You'll be able to brag about your Maker when thou hast taught me thy statutes. It says, and then verse 172, my tongue shall speak, of thy imbra. This is another word for word. DAVAR is one of them, but this imbra is another word like we're saying or uttering. So it says, my tongue shall speak of thy imbra, thy word, for all thy commandments, all thy mitzvahs are tzedek, are righteousness. All thy mitzvahs, all the commandments are tzedek, are righteousness. Then it says, verse 173, let thine hand help me, for I have chosen thy precepts. All right? So, I have chosen your, that's not the sikut. Pikud. Pikud as precepts. Yeah, pikud. I'm remembering now. I've chosen thy pikuds, which is precepts, So, let thy hand help me, Keep on helping me, God, because, I've chosen just to be watching everything that you have taught me. And then I like this verse here, 174. It says, I have longed. And this is longed is the word desire, which is 20 times in the Old Testament. It appears only 20 times. And it's the word desire, and it's ta'ab. Ta'ab. Okay? And it says, I have desire for thy salvation. And salvation is a feminine word, which is Yeshua. Yeshua. And that's salvation, which means to be complete and whole and perfect. It says, I have desire for thy completion, for thy wholeness, for thy perfection, O Lord. I have desire for this completeness. And then it says, and thy Torah and thy law is what satisfies me. That's what it says, with my delight. That's a word there. That's in a tab letter. I can't remember right now, but it means to be satisfied. In other words, I have desire to be complete, to be made whole, to be completely full, O Lord. And thy Torah has brought me that satisfaction. And the Torah has made me, has made it pleasantly available, has made me delight, has had pleased me in order to do that. In other words, I have desires for this completeness, to this fullness, to be whole, to be healthy, and complete in the DAVAR, the way you wanted me to have it, because you made to give me your DAVAR, and so I know your DAVAR is set above high of everything. So I want the best for the DAVAR, because with it you created everything. So I wanted to keep it complete and safe. And guess what? In the Torah, I managed to get that satisfaction. I managed to be able to feel that fulfillment, and it makes it happen. So the Torah is complete for that purpose, to complete you in the upkeep of the DAVAR, in the administration of the word itself. Because I told you yesterday that God made a wordocracy. Everything is of the word, through the word, and for the word. It's not a democracy, but it says of the people, for the people, and through the people. None of that garbage. That's just, and something that is in La La Land here. That's really, it's not the reality, because everything has to be guided by words. And when the words are forgotten, that's when the whole society goes down the drain, as is happening right now. Because the people don't even know their own constitutions. Most people in the whole, most nations don't know their own constitution. Because all the classroom has been invaded with socialism and with socialist ideas, and they're just taking over right now, and they wanted to invade. And so they've done this attack to prove that a lot of their teachings were working okay, because people forgot, to adhere. They forgot to be adherents, forgot to do the Shema, Shabbat, Shemesh to their own constitutions, and therefore they're losing their countries. Germany, I was hearing today, my brother Tim was sharing that German people, thousands upon thousands of them, are rising up because they're not going to put up with the lockdown anymore. So even in Germany, people forgot their constitution, that all these things were being violated. So, but pretty soon people are waking up to the reality, and so that's the whole idea. So, but this is what we're going to be doing. So the whole idea is, in this verse, that's what he's saying. I have desire for your completeness, your wholesomeness. I have decided for your DAVAR to not lack anything, because I know I am responsible. I'm a steward of the DAVAR as the greatest asset that I have found, and I want the best for it. So I want that DAVAR not to be lacking anything. And guess what? The Torah has made it possible. With the Torah, that desire is satisfied. With the Torah, my desires are fulfilled. And thy law is my delight. That means it's my satisfaction. Okay. Then verse 175. Let my soul live, and it shall praise thee, and let thy judgments help me. I have gone astray. Our word astray is also another word with tab. Like a lost sheep, seek thy servant, for I do not forget thy mitzvot, thy commandments. So here you have it, so it's showing the satisfaction that the Torah is able to complete you with. Okay, now before I begin I want to put the books of the Bible from Genesis to Esther. I have a list here, and we're going to go down into this in a little while, and I'll tell you the meanings, but I'm going to focus on the first 6. Okay, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Joshua. All right, and for that, I want to bring you in contrast, because the whole idea in the Torah is like there's certain things that you got to do. You got to go ceremonial laws for those that are the Levites. So not everybody does it; just the Levites do that. And so the 613 mitzvahs, right? 613 mitzvahs. Some of them are for the ceremonial law. A lot of them are for the ceremonial law for the priests, and so they have more laws to keep than everybody else. But of course, they are the technicians. So the technician in a company knows more than the consumer. He's got more things to do because he's working in the middle of the company. The same with these people. So the Levites, the Kohen, the priests, all of that, they had to learn more laws than the rest of them and to adhere to most of them. And so there were ceremonial laws. There were laws to do farming. There was a law to what things to eat, the diet to follow. Civic laws, you have to get along with your neighbor. If had to deal with the loss of any animals, or had to deal, also when you had to go to war, who was of age. Everything was is given in there. So you can run a whole society, once you learn the Torah. So there's a lot of little things that you have to follow, a lot of details. But mainly you just have to get into reading it and memorizing it. Because this book of the law, in Joshua, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein, for then thou shalt make thy way prosperous. That means what? You're going to bring a success to the words and yearnings. So you're working for the word, to keep it at the best mindset of the maker. So then thou shalt make your way prosperous, your words and yearnings will be successful, and then thou shalt have good success. So that's the whole purpose of doing it. Okay, so that's what Joshua, presses on that we should do. I should be there. He's not saying, look at me and follow what I'm doing. No, he's saying, look at the Torah and memorize it, make it your own, and recognize all that is connected. So that in the end, then the mindset of God can really flow from you, because then you're understanding, you're in tune with Him. Because the whole idea, one thing that this 21st century, the century that we're in now with all this technology has taught us, is that really we don't know how we operate. Because now that we got into robotics and all of that, that create the movements of the hand and duplicate the movements of the fingers and the movements of the facial features and all that, and they put it on the robots. Those people they know that there's a lot of knowledge that has to go into, to move an eyebrow or to move something in your hands, and to train the nervous system, electrically to understand your mind and to be able to convey that, that command into electricity and be able to be transformed into software. There's a lot of stuff that is involved in making things function that we had no idea, but now we're finding out as we're getting into the field of robotics. There's a lot of knowledge just for the one movement of a finger. There's volumes of books that need to be written, codes that need to be kept up, and need to be, inputted and all of that stuff. But people are finding out as time progresses. So all along, we had this magnificent organic body made by Eloheinu, by Adonai, by Yud-He-Vav-He, by the Lord of all. And He is the one that runs it. Once your soul is placed in it, this body is in sync with the soul and begins to read the desires of the soul. The soul wants to move the body's way, and the body listens and it goes. Just gets the electrical impulse, and it goes. And so it becomes, the motor skills adjust very much to what the soul wants. So then the soul is able to operate in this physical environment. But if you were to ask a person, how does that work? Can you duplicate that in a lab? Can you make it happen on your own? You will have no idea. All you did, you knew that you wanted to do this way. You wanted to run and you were able to run. You wanted to eat and you were able to eat. You wanted to do all those things and your body was able to do all those things. Of course, he took training from the very beginning to develop those motor skills. But now, as you've grown up, it's all established. And all you just got to desire, and your body responds, at so many responses at one time that you will never be able to explain. So you are never doing any work. Understand that. The only one that does the work is the one that makes this body to be equipped to work that way. And He knows how everything is connected and how everything works. So the one that knows the manual, which is, the one above us and the one below us and besides us and inside of us, the one who knows everything that's going on, who's omnipresent, whose eyes of the Lord are everywhere, beholding the good and, the function and what doesn't function. So that's the one that's making it happen, So we have only got into this property that the soul is in here and is enjoying the benefits of being in sync with a body that listens to the desires of the soul. But all we know is desire. And that's why Tzaddik is the journey of the desires. We have to line up our desires, with the desires of our Maker. Because then we will not be suffering anything. We will not be stressed out of our wits. Because if we line up with the desires of our Makers, we will only be desiring what He desires. And so all the stuff that the world tells you that you need to desire, you need to desire this, you need to desire that, you need to want this and want that. And until you get those things, then you can give yourself permission to believe that you've achieved, that you become somebody, and you become essential and recognizable for achieving something in this world, which are not even required by the Torah. And the Torah is all for you to take care of the DAVAR, to administer in the mindset of the Maker. And therefore, there's a lot of things that you don't need to cling on to that this world tells you need to have. So the world gives you a substitute of stuff, like for example, there's like 17,000 pages, okay, of laws and codes, in the law books of this country. 17,000. And this is the thing, but the worst, because the number 17 is the numerical value of TAV. TAV is functional or good, okay? So 17,000 pages, and society barely works. And we have rioting going all over the place. People do not know that their rights are being trampled upon. 17,000 pages. Who's going to have time to memorize all of that? And then, so you have to get lawyers to explain that. And they themselves don't know all of it. They have to go to depend on their laptops to give them guidance. So we have this mountainous amount of regulations and orders now in our society. And hardly any is kept, and hardly anything is memorized. Okay, so what's the point? Because it's a retarded garden. We need everything to be functioned by the manpower, so we have lost our way. But the thing is, but it is in the working of certain things that the Torah gives us to do, in the enacting of the ceremonial laws, in the civic laws, in the laws of how to eat and everything like that, that as we're doing those things, it lines up, it puts in sync for the mindset of God to operate and easily flow through us. That's the whole purpose, okay? So we have to do those things, as it was dictated to us. We were told how to do this, how to do that, and everything was done. Because eventually, once you understand, so then the mindset of God will be flowing out of you. So those are the things that lend themselves or facilitate for that mindset to travel in us and through us. Okay, so that was the whole purpose. So at no point were those things were to stop, Now the diaspora, the spreading out happened, and all, the Jews went throughout all the nations of the world, like it was, prophesied that was going to happen. So they are everywhere now, But nonetheless, we were not, we were supposed to be, in that mindset, that acquires his mindset and not deviate from it. Okay, so there's a work that has to be done to acquire the understanding of the Alef-Beyt, the Father, flowing through us, okay? And so the Torah dictates, it's like a map. You do certain things and you get to understand this aspect of God. You do this other thing and you get to understand this other aspect of God. So everything to connect you with his understanding. That's the whole purpose at the end for it, to everything that you do, okay? And so, therefore, these things are there. And as you engage in it, you're not doing any work per se, because you don't know how you do it. You're just desiring, and your body acts accordingly. Okay, so that's why I'm in disagreement with this in the New Testament, that we don't do works, because the thing is, of course, and even the things that we thought that we're doing as work, they're not even works, because it is God that's working, that's making this body operates according to our desires. He knows, exactly what connects in our bodies for those things to happen, and he makes it happen because he gives the body permission to operate as such. All right, so everything, the beating of the heart, we don't know how it happened, but it keep on beating. The heart keeps on beating up until God says when it's going to stop. You don't even know, but God says when it's going to stop. All right, so all these things that God is allowing the body to operate on, we have no idea. So the body's constantly working in the operation of the Godhead, because he's the one that makes it work. So the things that we do and we engage in, as the Torah tells us to do, is not really works that you're making. It's just guidelines. When you go into a job, you're not creating the job. The job is already outlined as to how it needs to be done. This TV's got to be done this way. You're not creating the instructions on how to make the TV. They're already done. You're just engaging in something that already existed, so that you will understand the mindset of the one that created the TV. So you will be in tune and in sync with him. That's how things operate on people. You need to understand, that. So in the Torah, we operate on a level to understand the mindset, and of the Creator. And the word Torah, which I read to you before, has the TAV, the VAV for the connectedness, has the Resh, and then he has the Hey, Torah, the Hey for the animated figure, the activation. It means the focus on the connectedness of the heads animation or the head's activation, to focus or to concentrate or to aim at the connections of the resh, the head's activations. What the boss came up with, the idea they came up to certain things to work a certain way, is to focus on those connections of the activation that came out of the head. Okay, so that's the whole idea of the Torah. So you got to focus on what activates the mindset of God to be operational in you. So in order to do that, that's why you follow the first 5 books. There's Genesis, that's the beginning of a product or service. There's Exodus, the sending out of a product or service. Or Shemot, which is in Hebrew. It's in Hebrew, Shemot, the book of names. You name and you have a brand name for the product and service. The Leviticus, which is the joiners, the technicians, the one that take care and handle the word. Or Vayikra in Hebrew, which is that God called, the classified ads, that you call the people that are going to be the technicians to work in that. God called Moses for the Torah. Numbers, okay, Bamidbar in the Hebrew is in the desert, in the wilderness, and Numbers is also for keeping inventory. Okay, we have a company, you have to keep inventory of things. But Bamidbar in the wilderness, that's the place, because Midbar, which is wilderness, means the solutions, the solutions of the administration of the rules. So that's what you do in a job place. Because when you go to a workplace, that place is like a wilderness to you, because you're only there to keep words and instructions. The products and services are to be given out to your neighbor that's outside of the company. Okay, the only thing that the owner gives you at lunchtime, you can go eat your manna, your food, but you don't take any product and service. You're there to render that product and service to people that are outside of the company. So going to a job place is to go into the wilderness, because you don't really pick up anything for yourself other than the instructions, the Torah, the teachings, orderly regulating all humans hiring there. Torah. That's what you get in that workplace. So it's like a desert place, okay? Because everything that you produce is for somebody else to enjoy. So there's like in the wilderness like that. And finally, ha-davarim. That means the words. You inherit the words. When you go to a workplace, you inherit all the words, because the word is the reality of the service, is the reality of the product. That's the real thing. That's why hadabarim means words, dabar, plural of dabar, or it means things, because they're one and the same. Without the word identifying what it is and telling how it's made, that thing that we think of something external from the word will not exist at all. So it is the word that allows something to continue, to perpetuate and exist and stay renewed and refreshed. So all those things are there. So finally, when you have all those things, that's the preparations to have a corporation and to run something. You have the beginnings of a product, that's marketing, the technicians, the inventory, the words to keep and the words to follow. And then what you have Joshua. And Joshua means the work of completing, the work of making perfect. In other words, now you have a whole setup, then it's the job. Every job that you do in a company is the work of restoring and renewing and refreshing and make sure that the product or the service do not lack anything, but it's completely kept renewed, completely kept healthy. That it never dies on you, because you're there to keep it new. You are there to restore it, to renew it, to keep it complete. And that's the whole word of Joshua, to keep it safe. To keep something safe is Joshua. You're there for the salvation or for the safety of the product and service. So everybody that is engaged in any job that has to maintain a product and service, restore and refresh and renew, so the client will get it brand new all the time. In every work that you do, you are in your actions, defining what the word Joshua means. Okay, so that's the whole thing. But it all comes from following a certain order. Okay, so there's a job that we do. There's a toil that we do. We work. We work till the ground. We do certain things. We run society. We follow civic laws and all of that. So we understand how to be connected with our fellow men. And in so doing, we understand the mindset of the Maker, of how He wants us to understand that we have to live for not tied up in ourselves, but to be always linked to everybody outside. And so that everybody that we come in touch is like the sun that is sending his warm rays, bringing his warmth all over the ground, so that nobody will live in the cold, dark world. Will feel the warmth of the sun coming out of you and emanating from you, proceeding from you. Okay, that's the whole idea. So that's what we have. But when it comes, so you can see that there's the work that to be done where you earn something, but what you're looking to earn is the understanding. You engage in everything that the Torah tells you to do, the 613 mitzvot, for the purpose to understanding and to gain the complete, wholesome understanding of the mindset of the Alef-Beyt, of the Father. Because that's what he's aiming at. Ultimately, what's the aim? Is the fellowship. You were made to have that fellowship with your Maker in the here and now. You know, just like David said, whom have I in heaven but thee, and there's no one else on earth that I desire but thee. That's exactly what he's talking about. In the here and now, we can have that mindset, and we can be completely ours, okay? If we don't follow people that give us something else to follow religion after. Okay, so now when we come to the New Testament, in the New Testament, I did not write it here, but we have Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and then the book of Acts, and then the book of Romans. Okay? Now, Matthew, in case you don't know, Matthew means the gift of God. Okay, that's the meaning of that word. Matthew means the gift of God. Mark is a word that means hammer. It's a hammer. Mark is a hammer. Okay, in the Greek, or I understand Greek and Aramaic, whatever what the name was, but the meaning of it is hammer. The word look is from lucid, from light, to illuminate, to be able to see, because your light is to have, it's the word for light, or for illumination. That was look. And the word John, it means the favor of God. Okay, so we have the gift of God, we have hammer for Mark, we have light or illumination from Luke, for the word look, and we have for the word John, favor of God. Okay, and then it comes the book of Acts, the work that's going to be done for those four things. And then the book of Romans is the first one of the epistles that follows in that order. Okay, and Romans is for the romanticized. That's the area of the romance. They romanticize. They fell in love with this world and the architecture of this world, everything that has to do with the beauty of this world, the aesthetics of this world, and everything. So that's the whole idea of the Roman Empire, and still permeating the mindset up to our age. We're still in love with this world. We can't seem to think that we cannot exist without it. You know, we're so attached. We have romanticized. We have fallen in love. All our commercials has to make us fall in love with something, with the aesthetics of a product, with the way that it looks, with the way that it presents itself. Everything is a romanticizing of this environment, instead of being fully in love 100% of your mind, of your soul, and of your might with the Torah. You find a way to enamor yourself with the things of this world, and that's all the romanticizing of the era, and that's all part of the Romans. And this thing in Spanish, Roma, in Spanish, Rome is Roma, and the reverse of Roma is amor. When you spell Roma backwards, it's amor, and amor is love in Spanish. So it's interesting when you think about that. Rome is really the place where people have fallen in love with all of creation, and they have been given over to all kinds of stuff. You understand when Paul wrote that stuff. But so when you put that in perspective, what does it mean? The gift of God, hammered, illuminates the favor of God. And you can say, oh yeah, that's the message of Christ there. The gift of God, the sacrifice or hammered, right, or nailed, illuminates or shows or illustrates the favor of God. Okay, so there you have the whole gospel story as it's told in the Christianity, that this for one person, was nailed, and because of this person, everybody gets a favor. Everybody gets a handout from heaven. And that handout is salvation. So that you believe in this sacrifice and this one that was nailed, you get this handout giving us salvation. But a lot of people think that this salvation has to do with you. When you die, you have a place secure in heaven, that you are safe from going to hell. It has to do with places, avoiding an ugly place to go to a beautiful place. And it has nothing to do with the mindset of the Maker. So there's a lot of confusing messages that go in there. But in the book of John, it says, when Jesus was identifying himself as the Torah, because that's what John presents him as, the Word of God. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. So in the message in the book of John, he's trying to tell you to the Alef-Beyt. The whole purpose of him being the Torah and calling him the Torah is to bring you to the mindset of the Father. But a lot of the so-called Christianity do not teach that. They make people think that, that Jesus pays for some sort of, his sacrifice is like some sort of welfare from heaven now. He paid it all, so now free heaven and free everything. We just have to say his name and we got it, So like it's like a Torah welfare system, to get heaven and to avoid hell and to get healings and to avoid sicknesses, to get riches and avoid poverty, and also the sort of a salvation that you have. You're not following the mitzvot a certain way, keeping civic laws and all these things that are doing there, to understand the whole mindset of connectedness with everything and how God the Creator is responsible to everything, and He's there to propagate the welfare of mankind, and the propagation and the multiplication and the nourishing and the replenishing of mankind and all of that. We lose sight of that, So therefore, the next thing that follows in the book of Acts, the acts that we do is that act of just giving a welfare system, of getting things freebies because Jesus paid it all, and therefore I'm going to get all these nice benefits. But, the last thing they want is the mindset of God, and that's exactly what the Torah is aiming at, not to have you deviate from the Alef-Beyt. Okay? So you can see that in Christianity, this system, it's a social system of the Torah, I think sometimes. It's like in the Torah, you meet God personally in the Torah. You meet His mindset on a one-on-one. Okay, that's the whole idea for you to memorize it. And you don't need any mediator in between you and the Torah, and that's it. That's what he was saying in 174. I have desire for thy completeness. I have desire, to be fully perfect and wholesome, for the DAVAR to be like that. And in the Torah, I found that satisfaction. He went directly to the Torah, and that's where he found the means to be able to keep it. And that's the whole idea, because he has to keep you. So I don't care if you work in any company, even if you're the son of the owner of the company, you don't go tell the people there, look at me, because then you're going to be able to run this company. You are the son, you tell, look at the manual all the time. Okay? And that's what, even all the sons of every company, they never say, look at me and you're going to know how to run this company. No, they always point to the manual of how the product is done, because that's always one-on-one intimacy with the mindset of the creator of the company. Okay? So that's the thing. The sad thing about Christianity to me is that Christ himself did not write a book. Okay? So there's a lot of stuff, that maybe he wanted to convey about bringing us to the Father. But since everybody wants to run things their way, that's why we have a Christianity. In Christianity, you have attachment to a lot of things in this world. So that they're, hosts for Christ. There's all kinds of sinners for Christ. All kinds of things, because they bring down the name, because nobody adheres to the character of the Alef-Beyt. Okay, there's no shuba, anything to take you back there to the Torah, and they even call it Old Testament. To God, as long as God is concerned, that's the only testament that He has given, and it will continue to be the only one. Okay, and so that's where the mindset is, and He has not done away with it. When you do away with it, you do it to your own detriment of your own soul, because then you acquire anything else. Like I said, do not let anybody bribe you from what is truly yours. What is truly yours is the mindset of the Alef-Beyt. So if anybody wants to come and bribe you by giving you a heaven to go, that's a bribe. Don't take it, because you were not made for a place. You were made for the personality of your Maker. Anybody wants to bribe you with healings and riches and everything in the world, don't take the bribe. You were not made for those things. You were made for the Alef-Beyt, for the mindset of the Father. So that's what I was trying to teach you earlier. So this is the whole thing, We have religions that set up and stuff like that. So then the Torah becomes like a welfare system. The sacrifice of one brings you all this stuff. And so everything has been tumbling down. That's why have some more factions and divisions among Christians themselves. There's this denomination for this denomination. They make differences on very little minor things. They differ from one another, And so there are. But anybody that is telling you that the main idea to come to Christ was so you can escape hell and you can have a nice place to go, they have lied to you. That's a lie. It's to come to the mindset of the Father. All right? And that's where you need to be. And that's what the Torah teaches you. And it tells you not to deviate and not to take any bribe from anybody that teaches you otherwise. Okay? So do not let anybody that offers you a heaven to go, or a nice angel to accompany you on your trips, or nice riches in this world, or nice healings everywhere, or everything to deviate from the Alef-Beyt. Because nothing is close to the Alef-Beyt, the mindset of God. That's the highest thing He has to give you, and that's what He gave you the Torah for. Because there was nothing better, nothing higher than the mindset of God that He could give you. So when He gave you that was it. That's why He manifested Himself to a whole nation, showing that he could save a whole nation. You know, millions of people were in the wilderness when he was presenting the Torah to them, because he wasn't an individual salvation. He was introducing himself as the savior of nations and training each person that received the Torah. For each person that received the Torah and memorized it, he was going to be a savior of nations too. So you will know how to bring the mindset and project it onto all the nations that you were going to be sent to. All right? Because that's the whole idea of somebody showing himself to be a savior of nations and bringing the Torah, so that you will have that mindset, to be a projector of that mindset, and to be always thinking of things that are outside of you to bring comfort, you know, to the Creator's minds, to the Creator's heart, and to the creatures that the Creator has created. Okay, so that's the things I wanted to share today. So I hope we take these things to heart. You know, so the whole idea here is to aim back, you know, and to follow the Torah, you know, in all of his ways, because like it says about verse 174, you know, I desire for that completeness. I desire for your Yeshua. I desire for your completeness, your salvation, your wholesomeness. And where am I going to get it? Where am I going to be fully satisfied? In the Torah. Verses 174, Psalm 119, verse 174. Keep that in mind. That's the complete satisfaction there. And you can have it, you know. And we'll see. I'm learning right now about sacrifices, and I think that's what I'm going to focus on. You know, about the word korban, which most of Christianity just think of it as sacrifice, but it's actually just an offering. And there's about different kinds of offerings that we call sacrifices. And a lot of Christianity is very ignorant of that, because, like I said, they have disregarded the Torah to their own detriment of their own souls. Because you're losing so much by not memorizing, not looking at it and studying it. You know, especially in the original Hebrew. But I will make some time as the days progress, you know, but I'm going to take a rest this week. We're going to do something on Wednesday, like the Watch and Win, so we'll do that. Okay, but I'm going to be studying right now on offerings and sacrifices to be able to explain that better for you to understand, you know. And so I hope you enjoy this series. You know, you learn something from it, and you get something, you know, that is you know, essential for you to understand your mind, the mindset of your maker, because that's what I want to give you. That's your true heritage. That's your heritage for you and your heritage for me. I'm not depriving you from it. If any religion has come along to deprive you from it, they owe reparations to the DAVAR in you. They did an injustice to the DAVAR in you. They messed it up beyond degree. And so they need to shubah and go back to the ways of the Torah, you know, to understand what they've lost, what they missed out on. It's great. It's a great stuff they missed by not following that. All right, so I want to finish with a little commercial. Let me see here. For the, let me see, for, oh yeah. Story Monarch, here we go.